Okay, here's my take on sports specialization. I think it's a term that's thrown around a lot, and it creates, you know, it enrages people. When I say things like, okay, if you want to go to Harvard, and I say, honey, you have a 3.1 GPA. I know, but I got Harvard banners all over my room. I just daydream about going to Harvard. Well, you just don't have, what can we do to make this work, honey? Let's sit down. We might need to study, okay? We might need to take some weighted classes. We should do that in wrestling. Oh, you seriously, you're from the state of Iowa and you daydream about wrestling at Iowa State. Okay, now let's be realistic here and see how we can make this happen, because Iowa State's really good. We have to win, okay? So let's sit down and be realistic. So when you start having these conversations, realistic conversations with your kids, they go from daydreaming to like, oh, I want to have a 6-pack. I want to have an 8-pack. I want to have a G-Wagon. I want to have this. I mean, we all want stuff. We got to sit down and say, do I have an emotional attachment to this, or am I willing to work for it? It's like, say, who wants to wrestle in college? 1 million hands go up. Who wants to give up big parts of their life to earn the right to wrestle at Iowa State? Hands go down. You have to give up some things. So as far as sports specialization, when I say you should train year-round if you want to wrestle in college, I'm not talking about 4-year-olds, okay? Common sense has to come into play here. I think some people just like to rant in comment sections because they should be focusing on work, I think. But they just like to rant, and that's fine. I love it. Keep it up. I'm not talking about 4, 5, 6-year-olds. But what I will say is, what's it take to wrestle year-round? My son's in football, and football is vital to the essence of our small community. Okay. Can the kid not get on a wrestling mat on a Sunday? See, I played soccer in college, and I made it to Oklahoma State. I was ranked #1 in the nation in high school, coming out of high school. Now, it was years ago. Wrestling was not that tough back then, so I will let you know. It was not that big of a deal. But I was, and I wrestled Oklahoma State, and I was All-American. My brother was NCAA champion. And I played soccer in high school. But guess what? I was on that wrestling mat once or twice a week before practice. Soccer field was used by varsity. I was JV as a freshman. Now my sophomore year, I made varsity. Then after that, I quit. And I just focused on wrestling. I got slide tackled by a 200-pound man, almost broke my ankle. My dad's like, you might want to quit this. And so that's why I did. But I love soccer. But I still got on the mat. Just because I say you should study and get your GPA above a 3.1 if you want to go to Harvard. See, that makes me a good parent. I'm not going to let my daughter get a 3.1 and just say, you can do it, baby. That's child abuse, isn't it? No, you will not go to Harvard. That is not good. You will not go to Iowa State. That wrestling has got to improve. This is the facts, okay? You will not be a Navy SEAL. You will not do this. You will not do that. I could not get hired to work, at SpaceX, okay? I've got a way below average IQ here I'm working with. I just work really hard, but I don't have it up here, okay? So, it's okay to say, you're not on track to do this. You're not on track to go to Iowa State, but let's get a piece of paper here and let's see how we can get you on track. Gather around. Now we sit our son or daughter down and we say, okay, you want to wrestle for North Central, okay, the national champions for women's wrestling. Okay, what grade are you in? 7th grade. Okay, what can we do? Oh, I love softball. Okay, let's keep playing softball, honey. But maybe mom and dad don't need to spend $10,000 a year. Maybe you don't do the super duper ultra select softball where we have batting cages on Sunday. It's 4 practices a week. We have hitting coach down in, Des Moines we have to drive to. And maybe you just do YMCA softball as a 7th grader. We don't need to do, and then that's 2 practices a week for an hour and a half. Do you want to play softball in college or do you want to wrestle? Wrestle, wrestle, wrestle. I just like softball, but I want to wrestle in college. Okay. Do we have to do select travel softball or baseball? No. I'm giving up. I'm clearing out. And people say, they need to have a childhood. I'm like, I agree kids need to have a childhood. But they're already doing softball 4 days a week, and you're gone every weekend at the National Softball Circuit. Maybe we quit that team and we do the New Melly Softball League, right? Or the Augusta Softball League. 2 practices a week, and then 1 day a week we get on the wrestling mat, right? Maybe we go to the Purler Wrestling Academy, Tanner Irwin, Ty Purler, and we train with those guys. And then we say, okay, how about cross country? Well, every year I say I'm not going to do cross country, but I end up doing it because a coach talks me into it. Okay, so can we quit cross country? You're going to be in 8th grade next year. Maybe during cross country season, now that you quit, so during wrestling season, you're on the mat 3 days a week in tournaments. Maybe during softball, which you love, we're going to do softball or maybe baseball. We're going to do YMCA baseball, and you're going to do 1 practice a week during baseball season. And maybe, son, hey, Johnny, guess what? You're 5'2", and you're in 8th grade. You're probably going to get a concussion and get your collarbone snapped. You're getting ran over by 200-pound men. You know, your mom's 5'4". I don't think you're going to be a football player. Can we give up the football? Yes. Okay. So I'm going to give up football, and I'm going to wrestle 2-3 days a week during football season, 2-3 days a week during wrestling season, build in some 10-day breaks because we love 10-day breaks. I'm going to look for some weekend camps I can go to. And, you know, she's going to do the same thing, give up cross country and just do, you know, YMCA softball. And during softball season, you guys are only going to get on the mat once a week. And if you miss a week, who cares? And then maybe another week, softball and baseball, YMCA baseball gets rained out. I mean, sometimes things get rained out for 2 weeks at a time. Get on the mat then, right? So, sports emphasis is required. I don't think sports specialization is required. Now, can you take 8 months a year off? 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. That's 6 years times 8 months. That's 48 months. That's 4 years. 4 years off, no wrestling, out of 6. Okay. So out of 6 years, you're taking 4 years off between middle school and high school. Can you do that and earn a scholarship to Iowa State? If you can do it, go ahead. See, I don't care what you do. I hope it works. And you go, Deion Sanders was a professional everything, and okay. Then maybe you can make that work. But, and especially in a sport like football, I mean, gymnastics, bodybuilding, jiu-jitsu, diving. Look at Olympic diving. How about even ice hockey? There are certain sports it's a little bit more difficult to do part-time. How about track? Track is a cool sport, but a lot of it is just God-given athleticism, okay? If your 8th grader is 6'1", he's probably going to be a big-time basketball player, okay? There are certain sports that are sports where the skill level is so high that I'm not sure you can take 4 years off out of a 6-year period and get a $50,000 scholarship to North Central University or NC State or even NAIA nowadays or junior college. It is a buyer's market. If there was only like 5 Teslas and there's like 5 million people that wanted one, Tesla can charge whatever they want for that car. So guess what? In college, let's just talk about Division I. There's 77, I think, Division I colleges. That's it. There's 77 Division I colleges. That's it. And you want to be a starter. So at the 133 pound, 125 pound weight class in college, or the heavyweight, there's only 77 of those guys. You're wanting to go to college, but hopefully you actually want to get a scholarship and not walk on. And hopefully, which walking on is very difficult nowadays because of the Title IX, right? And I have a mom, I have a grandma, I have a wife, I have a daughter, I have a granddaughter. So I love women and I want to have opportunities for women. But the proportionality clause of Title IX screws it up. So that just means that 59% of the students at the University of Missouri are female, all students. 59% of the athletes better be female. It's got to be in proportion, which is silly because boys have football. What's there, 90 guys on a roster? So it's just so stupid. So these schools say, that throws us out of whack. Hey, coach, no more walk-ons on your wrestling team. So some of us who are like, dude, I could walk on there and earn a chance or maybe get 5% or 10% scholarship. Coach is going to let me come. I'm in state, so that's good. I got a good GPA. Maybe there's a grant here, a grant there. Maybe I'm a female and I'm majoring in science. There's a female science grant. I mean, we find this stuff, right? And I'm going to get a chance to walk on. And coach says, in 2 years, money should open up for my weight class. As long as I do this, maybe I can earn that 20% or maybe even more. I've had kids do it. The coaches can't do that nowadays because they can't even have you as a walk-on. So walking on is very difficult. In scholarships 2 years ago, there's no more 5 or 10%. In the sport of wrestling, you get 20% or nothing. And you think, that's a great thing. Well, it kind of isn't for some of us. For those of us who are like, this coach has to have me. I'm an in-state hammer. Okay. He's like, dude, I got to give that guy 20%. I cannot let that kid go to SIUE. I can't have it. He's got to stay in Missouri. I don't give a crap. 20%. So it helps him. But the kids who are maybe the up-and-comers who maybe could walk on and come for 10% and earn their way up, they're like, we can't have you at all. So keep that in mind as far as getting to college and your dream of walking on. It's very difficult for some colleges. Not all colleges are under a roster limit, but enough are that makes it difficult. And from a scholarship standpoint, they're in for a fifth, or they're not in at all. And I think that hurts more than it helps. And it's a buyer's market. Why? Because there is a whole lot of really great wrestlers. There's a ton. I mean, have you seen some of these youth wrestlers? Phenomenal. Middle school, high school wrestlers, phenomenal. And there's not a lot of colleges out there that have wrestling, and the ones that do some Division I, but also Division II, NAIA schools are not all fully funded. That means they may only have 2 scholarships for the entire team. I think Central Missouri University in Warrensburg has 1 scholarship. They're D2. They have 1 scholarship for the whole team, right? So now they can have 5 guys at 20%. Everyone else is walking on, okay? So it is a buyer's market. These people got you right where they want you. They don't have to throw around 30, 40, 50%. Because me, I'm like, dude, I'm a freaking in-state hammer. I'm like, well, there's 2 more in-state hammers and their parents are rich. And they're like, dude, my kids, 20% he'll go. I'll just write a check for the rest. So if I was the only in-state hammer, I win. But there's a bunch of in-state hammers and there's a bunch of other hammers out there too. Why? Because wrestling in America is tremendous nowadays. There's a lot of wrestlers and there's not a whole lot of opportunity. So the buyers, the coaches that are buying the kids, it's a buyer's market. It would be a seller's market if there was only a few hammers. Okay? So keep those things in mind. So I think sports emphasis is key. And if you want to be the next Deion Sanders and take 4 years off and out of 6 years and think you can make it, go right ahead. I don't think it's possible for most of us. And I think it's a good parenting to say, Okay, honey, I know you want to go to Harvard, but let's sit down here. Let's look at these grades. You got to sit down here. Now let's pull up harvard.com and let's see, what do they want? Okay, whoa. Now let's compare these two. That is a good thing. Oh, okay. Jonathan, you want to go to Iowa State? Let's sit down over here and think about this. Okay, it's getting crunch time here. Now, here's some opportunities we have to get better. Or do you want to play 110 baseball games a year and cost mom and dad 20 grand a year and every weekend for 5 months and try to wrestle and do football? Or do you think it might be a good idea to do YMCA baseball and wrestle once a week during that 4 months and give up football and really emphasize, let's just narrow it down to 2 sports. Or maybe you can do high school football if you're a big guy, but we got to get on the mat once a week, maybe twice a week, okay? And then in off season, we got to go hard, okay? And then maybe, we could just play a little baseball, maybe not. Be realistic. Let's look at emphasis versus specialization. And let's understand that it changes according to the athlete. 4-year-olds? No. 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th graders? Maybe. Maybe we need to put more time in. Maybe we need to go to science camp and math camp. And maybe we got to take weighted classes. You want to go to Harvard. We got to just sit down. So, be realistic. Let's put some emphasis. And just because you're doing a sport year-round doesn't mean you have to quit everything else. Just get on the mat once or twice. I tell my academy parents, I'm like, if you just come once a week year-round, once a week, that's 640 matches worth of live wrestling. It's a 2.5-hour practice. And you're getting, 58 hours of drill time. Just once a week. It's one evening a week. Okay? And then if you get older and you really are serious about going to wrestling in college, we might want to think about, are you going to be able to play football in high school? Are you going to be able to play football in college? Because there's something called opportunity cost, right? I could probably go buy an F-350 and a trailer and some lawnmowers and start a lawn mowing business. And I think I could probably make it work and probably make a whole lot of money. But that's an opportunity. My neighbor's like, I'm selling my business and I've got these contracts and you're guaranteed these. No. That's an opportunity for somebody else. I've got camps, I've got academy. We have 400 kids training the next 4 days at our Christmas camps. We have like 18 Christmas camp locations. We have private team camps. I have my online wrestling course. We got to manage those parents and help them, right? We have like 480 members of that. I've got to focus here on my job. And you go, oh no, this is an incredible opportunity. Not for me, because if the time I spend attacking this opportunity, it's called the idea fairy, right? I chase the idea fairy. No, I got to focus on my career. I'm not going to buy a lawn mowing business. And you say, oh, honey, we got an opportunity to do the Baseball Savage Elite Extreme Baseball League. It's like, oh, so exciting. Okay. Do you want to play baseball in college? No. Okay. Then maybe we stick with YMCA baseball. What do you want to do in college? Wrestle. What grade are you in? 9th grade. Okay. There's an opportunity here for you to go play Super Ultra Savage Elite Baseball League because you're a really good athlete and you can hit the ball well. But see, that's an opportunity, but it's going to cost you somewhere else. Let's focus here, okay? Let's focus here. So Think about emphasizing, not specializing. Think about their career path. Think about what they want to do. Let's think about being realistic with what they want to do, with what they're currently at and what we have to do. And let's set a plan and a program. And let's work some training in during softball season. And maybe let's look at tailoring it down a little bit. And let's be realistic about, the difficulties that lie ahead. If you want to go to Harvard in school or you want to wrestle at Iowa State. And just be realistic. But you do not have to give up your whole childhood to wrestle year-round. You don't have to give up other sports. We just got to work that one practice in a week, 4 months a year, go really hard 4 or 5 months a year. Maybe give up football. If we decide to do football, we still got to get on the mat once, twice a week. I mean, we got to start to have a little bit of prioritization here, because the end result of where I am at, you have to become a fast horse. And these college coaches aren't going to give a $50,000 scholarship or 5 or 10 or 20 or any opportunity at all. Because if they don't win, they get fired. They don't win, they get fired. And you can have your athletic director call, the coach. You can try to get me to call and say, oh, Coach Dresser, he's such a good boy. He's a citizen. He volunteers to clean up the hallways at school, and he's got good grades, and he's a good wrestler. He only needs a chance. They're not going to give you that, because Kevin Dresser will get fired if he doesn't win. He needs a fast horse. He's got money to put on a fast horse that he has to develop. You don't have to be the fastest horse in high school, but you better be a very skilled and dangerous, well-trained, fast horse who's competing toe-to-toe with the other fast horses in America, or he's not going to take a chance on you. Because if he doesn't win, he gets fired. So let's be very realistic about the whole college thing and understand the stresses that the coach is under as well. So think about emphasis. Maybe not specialization. Think about emphasis, and I think you're going to be on track. Good luck. Thanks for watching, and we appreciate you guys following us. But there's my experience. We just had 36 of our kids in the past 2.5 years go Division I, and another 10, 15 that have gone NAIA, and we're pushing some in to a few Division II schools, but mostly we're Division I NAIA for girls and NAIA for boys. But 2023, December 27th, past 2.5 years, we've had 36 of our guys go Division I, and a bunch of our girls, and a few guys go NAIA too. So we're getting academy kids into college, and this is just a repeat of what I share with my parents, and it is working. Okay, so good luck. Thank you.